What's going on, Keymakers? It's another episode. This is a different episode than normal. This is a week in review episode. So we are covering 1021 through 1027. You wake up, drive 30 minutes to work as an employee at your 9 to 5, which you hate, and all you can think about at work is providing for your family, starting your business, moving it forward, changing the world, and in the process, living the life of freedom and fulfillment you've always imagined. This podcast helps you transition from employee to entrepreneur. My name is Bradley G. Smith, and welcome to the Keymaker Nation podcast. Okay, so you guys, if you're following my YouTube channel and you pick up the podcast from the YouTube channel, or you pick up the podcast from your normal podcast feed like iTunes or Spotify or Google Play or Stitcher, anything like that, then you noticed I didn't get anything out there for Friday. I did record a video for Friday, a session, an episode for Friday, but I wasn't able to edit it in time. I was prepping for camping on Friday, so I was getting all my gear together. My car needed a lot of work to get it ready to go camping, and then we actually went on Saturday. So I think I released an episode on Thursday, and I wasn't actually able to get one out there for Friday. I was so busy and in preparation for Friday, and then didn't get one Saturday or Sunday. So I'm going to be putting together a couple episodes in a row here. And if you're catching this on YouTube and the lighting is a little bit darker than normal, obviously I'm not in my car. I'm doing this at home, and I'm right up in front of the mic, so I'm a little quieter than normal. The family's already gone to bed at this point, so I'm trying to stay a little bit quiet for everyone. So I appreciate your understanding that as I'm recording these episodes. So yeah, and then of course the lighting is a little bit different. I think for a period of time there when I was recording some videos, I was trying to put up the whole lighting equipment and everything. But to make sure that this is sustainable and I can keep doing this on a regular basis, I'm trying to just do this with natural lighting, the natural lighting of the lights in my house, that is. And so that I'm not putting in tons and tons of work into this, because I might not always record right here at the computer. I might record in the kitchen. I might record it while I'm laying in bed right before I go to bed or something like that. So in that spirit, if the picture quality is not great and you're watching this on YouTube, that's just so that I can maintain the speed on this and get these episodes out to you, because really that's what the most important piece of this is the actual content within the episode. So that's what I'm trying to get to you. And of course I'm looking at my notes and talking at the same time. So I went camping over the weekend on Saturday, and Friday I got all the last minute gear that I needed. Got a couple of things for my son, got him a headlamp and a little flashlight, and I got him a spork. He was really excited about the spork, and most people probably know what that is, but my son, I had to sort of explain what it was to him. Basically, there's a spoon on one side, a fork on the other side, and then one of the edges of the fork has like a knife blade on it, so that you can. I mean, it's a really dull knife blade, but that's just so you can cut anything while you're eating, while you're out camping. So he was really excited about that gear. I only got him really those three things. And then earlier in the week, we also got him like a 20-degree bag. It ran about $60 at one of the sporting goods stores nearby, but way cheaper than an adult bag that's rated for the same weather. But it had its trade-offs. It was a little bit. For those of you who don't know, I'm a big fan of hiking and camping. Not super hardcore. I have done one hardcore hiking trip, and that hiking trip was in Paria Canyon out in Utah. And me and a group of guys all went out there and went through, we had basically a Sherpa that sort of knew the route we were going to take. and took us through the canyon. And we went, I think it was like almost a week that we traveled. So we would like literally walking through the canyon, and then we'd set up camp at night out under the stars. It's beautiful, just great weather. And by the end, you're just ready to be done. But that was a really good trip. And so yeah, I enjoy talking about the gear and all the different upgrades to your gear that you get over time, so that's something that's really exciting for me. But so we went. So if you've followed the episode so far, you know that I'm out of Indianapolis, Indiana, and in Indiana, there's a spot in Indiana, Nashville, Indiana, called Brown County. Beautiful location. And I've been down there multiple times. There's quite a bit of a little shopping hub down there, sort of off the beaten path, and that's what makes it so nice. That's why everybody sort of flocks to there. And in the fall, it's amazing. Like the shopping is great, and then also there's some campgrounds nearby, and there's Brown County State Park. And then that's usually where I go if I've gone camping down there. I go to Brown County State Park, but this time I went to a new location. It was only about 10 minutes past Brown County State Park, heading south, and it was a place called Yellowwood State Park, and they had a campgrounds there, and we all got set up. It was myself and a couple of friends and their sons as well. And so, yeah, I had to make sure we were all geared up and had all of the things that we needed to have a comfortable camping experience, especially since it's a little bit later in the season and it was going to be colder. I had to make sure that I had everything I needed and that my son had everything he needed as well. So, but yeah, it went off great without a hitch. It was cold, but as long as you were in your sleeping bag, it was great. And then we got woken up this morning by rain. So, we ended up getting out. We got woke up at 6:45 in the morning, and it was still dark outside. So we had to get out of there and pack up as quick as we could. We could have put rain flies over our tents. I had a rain fly, but one of the guys didn't have a rain fly, so there wasn't really a point to all of us putting up, or the two of us that did have rain flies putting up rain flies. Because the other guy, if he was getting soaked, we were going to have to get out of there too. So unfortunately, it started raining about that time. We had to get out of there. So anyways, I was saying all that to basically say why I didn't get an episode out there on Friday or Saturday or today. But I did get the episode recorded on Thursday for Friday. And then, as I mentioned last weekend, my goal was to record this weekend review episode on Friday for Saturday in particular. And so that's what this episode is. And then I also wanted to do like an up next episode, like what's upcoming for the week, whether it's for the podcast or for the business. And so I'm going to do that recording here in just a little bit so that I can sort of keep up and have that cap to the end of the week and the start to the next week. So that's a little bit about where I'm at personally, but as far as episodes, what this Week in Review show is all about, right? So I covered several episodes this last week, and I wanted to very high level. I don't want to get into a lot of detail, but I wanted to high level hit this so that you could hear this episode and go back and listen if something piqued your interest. So I recorded episode 29, which is about to be out there right after. It'll be out there right before this episode goes live, probably within minutes before this episode goes live, because I wanted to stay on track in terms of episodes released. So I recorded a Time Hack number 1 episode, and that time hack is basically all about 2x speed for 4 different pieces of software that I normally use. And I also talked about how listening to these pieces of software at 2x and helps, and also how that helps when you're moving from point A to point B, whether it's from your parked car to your workplace, or from your workplace to your parked car, or while you're walking at lunch, or while you're exercising. Pardon me. So these two, So these 4 apps are related to YouTube, Audible, Udemy, and your whatever podcast app that you're listening to. I listen using Pocket Cast, and I just found that had exactly the controls I was looking for. But there's a lot of other podcast apps out there. But 2x speed, that's episode number 29, time hack number 1. I've got several time hacks to share with you, and that was one of the time hacks that I had. And then episode number 28, I talked about the most important pillar for your business. And earlier in the week on one of the previous episodes, I gave those pillars, and I'll hit that one in just a second. But the most important pillar for your business is the sales pillar, especially when you're moving from employee to entrepreneur. And if you're not ready to sell, you don't have something to sell yet, work your way backwards. And ultimately, you'll work your way backwards until you have a product. And that sort of falls into the delivery portion of one of the 5 pillars of your business. So, but in this particular case, the most important pillar for you for moving from employee to entrepreneur is your sales pillar, and working on your sales skills and getting your ability to sell, especially when you're by yourself, getting that up and getting better at that as time progresses. So that was episode number 28. Then episode number 27, I covered why no one wants to buy your product or service or offer. And it all related to how your messaging for your audience is not specific enough. And I gave some good tips on how to narrow that down, and what I meant specifically by the messaging and how that falls into the overarching picture when you're trying to get someone in your funnel and in your sales or marketing funnel. And so, go back and listen to that if you're trying to figure out why is nobody buying my product or service. And then episode number 26, I covered the 5 pillars for you in your business. And I picked that up from one of the guests I had heard on the Dave Woodward podcast related to Funnel Hacker Radio, the Funnel Hacker Radio podcast by Dave Woodward. And one of the guys on there shared what the 5 pillars were, and he sort of went into more detail with them. But those 5 pillars, in short, and you can go back and listen to this in how some parts of, how some parts of your business fall into each one of these pillars. But basically those 5 pillars: marketing, sales, delivery, operations, finance. So go back and listen to that episode. That's got a lot of good material in there, especially if you're trying to figure out what activity falls into what pillar for your business. It sort of helps you crystallize it in terms of making sure you understand what hat you're putting on for what particular activity and where that activity falls into what pillar for your business. So also, I talked at the very beginning of the week. I think I recorded this on like Friday or Saturday for last week Sunday's episode, and I talked about the cost of inaction and basically how the difference between COI, which is cost of inaction, versus ROI, and of course ROI is return on investment. And really, there's some big benefits to understanding cost of inaction, especially if you don't have any testimonials yet for your business, especially if you find yourself maybe up against the case of showing proof for your particular service or product. And that helps you learn how to sell it, especially to a client. This would be particularly helpful for a B2C transaction that's so that probably, I'm thinking more particularly helpful for a B2C transaction. So that was episode number 25. And so that was last week's episodes. And I'm going to do another episode here in a few minutes. That should catch you up in terms of episodes for the week in review for 1021 to 1027. As far as for my business this week, my podcast got approved by iTunes. Yes. October 22nd, which was Monday. And then the same thing for Stitcher, October 22nd on Monday, I got approved for business or for my podcast. So the podcast Keymaker Nation is now on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean, which is where I'm hosting the podcast anyway. So of course, since I have the XML feed and other apps pick up, mostly can tie into any one of those feeds, they can pick it up and pull it into that podcasting app. So I'm pretty excited. I mean, like, I got it approved in all 4 places that I applied to. And I think that's about as far as I'm going to go now. And of course, the video of each one of the podcasts is on YouTube, and the transcription of each one of the podcasts is on keymakernation.com. So yeah, I've got that all kicking, and so that's going good. And then this week, got my first Facebook ads client, and that does fall into the funnel agency realm. Pardon me. That falls into the funnel agency realm. Specifically, this Facebook ads client is an e-commerce ads client where they sell patio furniture normally, but I'm helping them with the holiday season coming up, and they're going to be selling Christmas trees. So I'm working with them on that. So I'm excited about that. I got to get into their, particularly their WordPress site, and make sure the Facebook pixel was installed correctly, make sure analytics was reporting correctly. And then I went ahead and set up ads, and those are set to kick off tomorrow morning, Monday, at 8 a.m. I think Eastern time. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and that's going to go for at least during this holiday season, like 60 days. So that should be a good little run in terms of Facebook ads. So yeah, I mean, as we're talking about moving from employee to entrepreneur, that's really important, right? Especially if you're supporting businesses to get your first client. Maybe you're not supporting businesses, maybe you're not supporting medium or large businesses. Maybe you're supporting small businesses or solopreneurs. That's still important. Getting your first client is a big win. And so I just wanted to share that win with you guys. Of course, I, still have plans to build courses around specific parts of the funnel building process. But I wanted to share this particular part where, I got that first Facebook ads client. So yeah, that's a week in review for 1021 to 1027. And that's the lowdown on the episodes and the business, and a little catching up on the personal side. And so yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So I will catch you guys in the up next episode, which is the episode for what's up and coming for this next week. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Hey guys, don't forget to join me in the Keymaker Nation private Facebook group. If you're listening to the podcast via iTunes, please rate and review. And if you're listening via YouTube, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening.